I can still smell the frosting on the cupcakes. It was red velvet, his favorite. I had spent 3 days planning the perfect surprise party. I even took time off work to decorate the place. The lights were dim, candles flickering around the living room. His childhood friends were hiding in the hallway. His parents were on a video call, ready to scream, surprise, the moment he walked in. But he never walked through that front door. Because he was across town, screwing another woman. And the worst part? I found out while I was holding a gift bag with a custom watch I had engraved with the words, "Forever yours." I remember the way the silver chain clinked in my hands as my fingers shook. I had followed a trail I never meant to follow, one text message, one misstep, one gut feeling too strong to ignore. Before I go further, let me just say, thank you for clicking on this story. If you are new to the channel, welcome. And if you are returning, thank you so much for your support. Your comments, likes, and shares are the fuel that keeps this channel alive. And if you have not subscribed yet, I would love for you to hit that button now. It helps more than you know. I want to hear your thoughts, so please, share them in the comments after this chapter ends. Now, back to that night. My name is Haley, and I am a 32-year-old American woman from Asheville, North Carolina. I had been married to Evan for 6 years. He was charming in the way con men are charming, beautiful eyes, soft voice, always saying the right thing until you believe it is the truth. Evan was a fitness trainer. He worked late hours, early mornings, and he claimed women flirted with him all the time but that he ignored them all for me. I wanted to believe him. I did believe him. Until I saw the text. It was from a woman named Cassandra. I recognized her name. She was one of his clients. I had met her at a holiday party the year before. She hugged me a little too tight and looked at Evan a little too long. But I brushed it off. The text read, "Tonight. Same hotel. Same time. I need to taste you again." My stomach sank. My hands turned cold. But I said nothing. Instead, I asked where he was going. He said he had a late training session with one of his male clients. I smiled and kissed his cheek. I told him, "Happy early birthday," and slipped the wrapped watch into his coat pocket. Then I waited exactly 20 minutes, grabbed my keys, and followed him. The hotel was not far. He had parked in the back. I left my car 2 blocks away and walked the rest of the way. My heart was pounding so loud I could hear it in my ears. My palms were sweaty. I thought I was being crazy. I wanted to be crazy. But I was not. When I opened the hotel hallway door, I could hear it. The muffled moans. The rhythmic thumping. The guttural sounds of 2 bodies tangled in a moment that was supposed to belong to me. I froze. I stood there and listened like someone had sucked the air out of my lungs. I did not cry. Not yet. I just stood there, motionless. Then, like a magnet, I walked closer. Their door was slightly open. And when I pushed it open, I saw him. Evan. Naked. Holding her hips. Buried so deep inside Cassandra that my entire world snapped in half. He looked up. He saw me. And instead of jumping off, he did not stop. His eyes locked with mine while his hands gripped her tighter. It was like he wanted me to see. Like this betrayal had been boiling under the surface and now he wanted to rip my heart open completely. I ran. I ran until my knees gave out. I threw up in a bush outside a fast food joint and screamed into my steering wheel. When I got home, the candles were still burning. His friends were gone. The cake had collapsed under its own weight. The room that was filled with joy just hours ago now smelled like death. I curled up on the couch, still wearing the red dress I had bought just for him. And I waited. He came home an hour later. He lied, of course. Claimed it was a misunderstanding. Said she came on to him. That it meant nothing. That he could explain. But there was nothing left to explain. Because the truth had already destroyed the fantasy. And I was no longer the woman planning a birthday surprise. I was the woman who had just watched her marriage die in real time. The next morning, the house felt like a crime scene. I could still smell the melted wax from the candles and the vanilla buttercream from the ruined cake. It was all tainted now. Every stream of light through the blinds made me feel more exposed. I sat at the kitchen island in silence, staring at the gift wrap that once held his engraved watch. Evan was in the shower. He had come home after his betrayal, like nothing had happened, like I had not seen him with her. He kept trying to talk, but I told him I needed space. The truth is, I needed oxygen, clarity, and the strength to not shatter every dish in the cabinet. I walked into our bedroom and opened the drawer where he kept his old phones. I needed to see more. I needed confirmation that what I saw was not a one-time mistake. Because there was a tiny part of me, some pathetic fragment of the woman who once loved him, that still wanted to believe it had been a lapse in judgment. But it was not. I found screenshots. Photos. Hotel receipts. Messages saved from months ago. You are the only one who makes me feel this alive. She has no idea. You are the real thing. My hands trembled. My throat burned. I felt the betrayal crawl under my skin, like I had been infected by his lies. He had not only cheated. He had created a parallel life. A life where I was the stand-in, the background noise, the convenient wife. When he came out of the shower and saw the old phone in my hands, he froze. I can explain, he said. I told him to sit down. And he did. He looked smaller now. Not physically, but spiritually. The confidence, the swagger, the charm, it had all cracked. And all that remained was a man who underestimated how deeply a woman can hurt when she has been loyal to a lie. I told him everything. How I followed him. How I heard them. How I saw him look at me and keep going. He dropped his head into his hands. He tried to cry. But I was empty. No tears left. Just questions. How long? I asked. 6 months, he answered. I asked him why. He shrugged. He said things got boring. That I was too comfortable in the marriage. That Cassandra made him feel young again. Young again. As if my love, my loyalty, my effort, were somehow aging him. I asked him if he loved her. He hesitated. Then he said, I do not know. It was the wrong answer. Because that meant it was more than sex. It meant it was emotional. It meant he gave her pieces of himself that belonged to me. I packed a bag that night. I needed to get away. I drove to my sister's place in Charlotte. I did not tell her the full story yet. I just told her I needed a few days to think. She poured wine, made grilled cheese sandwiches, and we sat in silence. My sister, Dana, is younger than me by 3 years. But she always knew how to read me without asking questions. I finally broke the silence. I caught him, I said. She looked at me, her eyes wide. With who? Her name is Cassandra, I whispered. Dana's mouth twisted like she recognized the name. Cassandra Fields, she asked. I nodded. She took a slow sip of wine and leaned back on the couch. That woman has been around, she muttered. Apparently, Cassandra had a reputation, one that Evan had somehow managed to keep from me. I felt stupid. Not just because I did not see it coming, but because I chose to ignore the signs when they were blinking red in front of me. Over the next 2 days, I did not answer Evan's texts or calls. I needed space, and more than that, I needed a plan. I started making a list of everything I had given to that marriage. Financial contributions. Emotional labor. Physical intimacy. Support through his career ups and downs. And what had he given me? Lies. Betrayal. A woman's perfume on his skin while I baked cupcakes in a red dress. Then, on the third day, something happened that turned everything. I received a message from an unknown number. It was a photo of Cassandra, lying in bed with another man. The message read, "You are not the only wife she is ruining." My chest tightened. I responded instantly. "Who is this?" "Her fiancé," the reply came. "I found your number in her blocked list. You need to know the truth." I called him. His name was Mark. He was a contractor from Virginia. He had been engaged to Cassandra for over a year. And he had just found out about her affair with Evan. She had been living a double life with both of them. My head spun. So Evan's affair was not a love story. It was a shared delusion. Cassandra had played both of them. Used them for attention, for validation, maybe even money. Mark and I agreed to meet in person. And that is when the idea for revenge began to form. Not something petty. Not something loud. But something calculated. If Evan wanted excitement, he was about to get it. If Cassandra wanted to ruin marriages, I was about to return the favor. But not with rage. With precision. With poise. And with a smile on my face. Because nothing stings more than being left peacefully by the person you thought would break down crying at your feet. I would let them burn each other down. And I would rise from the ashes they created. I sat across from Mark in a quiet cafe just off the highway in Greensboro. The air was thick with silence. He had deep brown eyes, tired but sharp. The man looked like he had aged years in just the past few days. He slid his phone across the table to show me more photos. Cassandra was in lingerie in every one of them. Some taken in the same bedroom where Evan and I had made love only weeks before. I laughed under my breath. It was not even bitterness anymore, it was something colder. Something that felt like freedom. "She fooled both of us," he said, looking down. I nodded. They deserve each other. But as those words came out of my mouth, I realized they didn't. Not really. Evan and Cassandra were not soulmates. They were parasites, feeding off of the love and trust of people too loyal to walk away. Mark clenched his jaw. "So what now?" I took a sip of coffee and leaned in closer. "We do nothing obvious," I said. "We do not burn clothes. We do not slash tires. We make them unravel on their own." I started with Evan. I went back home that night and acted fine. He looked confused when I walked through the door with takeout in one hand and wine in the other. He asked if I had calmed down. I said I had. I smiled. I kissed him on the cheek. I played my part perfectly. The man thought I had forgiven him. We ate dinner, and he even talked about going to therapy, something I knew was a performative gesture meant to reset his narrative. I let him believe I was broken. What he did not know was that I had already filed a quiet separation agreement with my attorney, frozen our joint accounts, and moved every document in the house into a private storage unit. Every night, he slept soundly beside me. And every night, I was one step closer to walking away with everything. Then came Cassandra. Mark had told me she was obsessed with social media. So I used that. I created a fake profile, a young, handsome, wealthy man named Nate. I used AI tools to build the perfect face. Smooth jawline. Ivy League smile. Every photo was curated to look just slightly too good to be true. Within a week of following her, she messaged Nate. And just like that, she fell into the trap. They began flirting. Sexting. She even sent voice notes describing what she would do to him if they met. Mark and I recorded everything. Screenshots. Voice notes. Time stamps. And on a Thursday night, Mark asked her to dinner. While she was getting dressed for their date, Evan and I were out to dinner as well. Candlelight. Wine. I wore red again, this time on purpose. As dessert was being served, I handed Evan a manila envelope across the table. He looked at me, puzzled. What is this? Your freedom, I said. Inside were photos of Cassandra and Nate. Every message. Every picture. Every lie. He flipped through the pages with trembling hands. You thought you had her all to yourself? I asked. She was playing both of you. He tried to speak, but I kept going. I hope she made you feel young again. Because now you can spend the rest of your youth fixing this mess, without me. I stood up, left the restaurant, and walked out into the cold air with my heart pounding, not from pain, but from power. I had taken it all back. The next day, I moved out. Quietly. Cleanly. No screaming. No drama. Just grace. Evan tried calling, texting, begging. I ignored it all. Then Mark sent me the final piece, a video. He had met Cassandra at the hotel, like she asked. But instead of taking her upstairs, he confronted her, calmly, like a man who had nothing left to lose. Her face crumpled. She tried to blame it on loneliness. On Evan. On not knowing what she wanted. Mark left her standing in the parking lot, crying in heels, with smeared lipstick and a ruined future. And just like that, both of them got what they deserved. Not revenge in the form of destruction. But exposure. And in the end, the most brutal truth of all was this. They were never in love. They were just broken people using each other to escape their own emptiness. I moved to Asheville. Started therapy. Bought a small condo with white walls and big windows. I cook dinner for myself now. I drink wine and read books on the balcony. I cry sometimes, sure. But it is not pain anymore, it is release. Evan? He tried to come back. He even sent flowers. But I never opened the door. Because once you see someone's darkness, you do not walk back into their shadow. And Cassandra? Well, let us just say she is no longer breaking up homes. Because now, everyone knows her name.